And he's still muted.
Was it just me, or was the music was it playing 2 times?
It's just you.
What's going on here?
I'll reference this comment. Maybe you need a good IT guy. So Clack's having some technical weirdness with audio. So
hey, guys, if you're doing a live stream and your screen, like you were doing the comments and then the live screen goes live, you have to mute it. If you don't, it gets this weird thing with the audio. So for you guys that may ever do it, and I'm sitting here going, what in the world's going on? And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. That's that little bit of delay that I'm hearing. So yeah, but we got it worked out. Didn't even need an IT guy. Thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate you offering to drive down and fix it for me, but I got it worked out.
Yeah, well, I had the car warmed up and almost ready to go.
But yeah, I was in there commenting with everybody, and so I had it pulled up, but there wasn't any audio. And then all of a sudden, when it went live, it was looping.
Gotta mute that tab.
Mercy, guys.
Or you use the control panel option within Studio, and then it doesn't play the audio for you.
Yeah. Whatever. It's been a long day. It's been a long day for sure.
Yeah. Yes, it has.
All right. So I've been watching the comments mostly. I was trying to put some tools away and getting my shop back in order. I did not get a chance to vacuum, so the floor's still very dirty, which is okay because I'm not vacuuming until I get through these stove covers over here because I got a stove cover sitting over here. I got 4 of them. Then I got to get put together tomorrow. I'm supposed to do that today. Oh, and that is an unconscious dog. So I've got a few of them to put together, but I just keep squirreling and like stuff just keeps getting in the way. So how about you, Steve? Have you been any more, I don't know, effective at getting jobs done or getting anything done in your shop? Or you like me, just snowed under with all these darn machines?
Well, it was a semester start at the college, so it was a long week. And I didn't even get out in the shop every day. But yeah, I barely squeaked one order out in time. That snuck in there. I thought it was something else. And I was like, oh, I actually have to make that. So yeah. I got that done one evening, and I had to do some shuffling as well to moving some things around. Yeah, so I got a lot of things set up to be tested, a couple other machines doing some production stuff, and just kind of, yeah, I didn't get a lot of extra done this week just because, it's a tiring week, semester startup. It's a lot of helping students, a lot of extra, I'm jumping between the help desk. I help out in the campus store. I give directions in the hallways. I was handing out parking permits and such. And so it's just a lot of, we're a medium-sized community technical college in the state. And so it's kind of like all hands on deck. So that, it's just a lot of bouncing around. So, but yeah. Survived it. Next week will calm down a bit, and temperatures are really calming down there. Northern Minnesota might see some flurries this week. There's a little Arctic blast coming down with some precipitation. So,
yeah, I don't think we're going to see any flurries down here. Oh, just going to throw that out there. I think we're safe. I'm going to be marked safe from the blizzard of August.
Won't be a blizzard, but there may be some frozen precipitation. But
cool.
But I did. Well, we'll see. The short is uploading. One of the things I'm working on, and you've been teasing it a lot, but this is the crystal engraving.
How did I know you were going to do that one
on the OmniX? Well, everybody else is doing
I started to do that one too, and I'm like, and I couldn't find a good Bigfoot. I wanted to do a Bigfoot, but I could not find a good STL image of a Bigfoot that looked realistic.
I'll light it up. That's almost too light.
I say it's
Lit.
almost too much.
But yeah, that is cool. I mean, it's something I haven't been able to do with any laser yet. So
Yeah, now I will say this:
right.
my research so far tells me that the medium and the blanks to be able to do that is not going to be cheap. I have been looking everywhere from Alibaba to Amazon to JP, uh, JD,
Yeah.
JDX supplies. To I have looked everywhere, and you can get them. Alibaba claims to have them for $3. Now it may
Hell
be,
yeah, it's shipping.
yeah, they may be that big, and then like $300 worth of shipping. But I did reach out to ComMarker and I asked them. I was like, hey, look, this is great, but are y'all going to offer the crystals like in your store? Because if you do, kind of like what some of the other companies have their own, like they have their own stuff that you can buy. If you are, and if it's at a decent price, then that would definitely go a long ways towards helping this machine be more of something I would lean into. Because right now I like it, it's really cool, but until I figure out where to get the crystal from, I'm just kind of in limbo on how much money you could make with it. I feel like it has really good potential, especially around tourist areas or things that you can get, like STL files that aren't copyrighted and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a market for it, and you could do really well with it. And if you really could get into doing like some, I wouldn't say 3D, but like some 2.5D, you know what I'm talking about? Like some of the relief type stuff with images, and their software has a tool that says you can do that. But I'm terrible at it right now, so I'm still practicing with that because it's a new machine, new software. The documentation is a little lacking right now, and I think Steve and I and some of the other ones are going to kind of help figure out the process maybe and set it over to you guys. But it is very, very cool. I did two other than my testers. Of course, I burned up a few of them testing, and I literally had like images, like little bitty image. I used every inch you could. But I did my little Statue of Liberty here, and let me get my flashlight. I got a flashlight that works good with them. My trusty DeWalt flashlight. Me and Klein found out that the DeWalt flashlight actually rocks with these things. It does a good job of illuminating them. So yeah. So I did this one, and then I did the skeleton that most of you probably saw the skeleton. Those are the two that I did that look good. The rest of them just like jumbled up mess because they were testing. And you can change the duration and stuff, and you can get like a more solid look on the inside. But I will tell you this: I didn't think you could, but you could actually burn this stuff. Like it'll turn brown inside there. If you hang up too long and you get your speeds too slow, it'll actually like have a brown fog inside there. So I had to play around with that. And like I said, once I figure out where to source the materials, I plan on taking some of these up to my buddy Tim's shop and putting them on display. And then I'm going to tell Tim I can make them. I'll sell them to you, and then you can sell them for whatever. So, because that's the good part about having folks that you kind of partner with on stuff that have a storefront is he can make money off projects that he don't even have to touch. So that's my plan with that.
Melissa's asking, how do we do that? And this is done with UV lasers, and it has a powered Z-axis that it can address. So basically, when it hits a focal point, what it's doing is causing these micro bubbles or micro fractures in a very tiny spot size. And so as it raises that focus point up, it interacts with the glass or the crystal at that level. So it's similar to like a 3D printer that's doing layers, but it's doing those micro fractures on the crystal. And so you got to use this special software for it. What are you doing?
I was trying to pull a video up. It is very loud.
Yeah. This isn't so this is with the ComMarker Omni X. There's a number of creators, including ours, that are doing some testing on them. So you're probably seeing more of this out there right now. And they have they're calling it was it a Commarker Studio? I know that's Atomstack Studio. Anyway, they have their own software they're bundling with this. It's very similar. It kind of goes along with the Galvo style of laser that this is, because the Omtech Solus actually uses the same driver and very, very, very similar software to this. But yeah, it takes an STL file like you would for a 3D printer, 3D file, and it will do the plotting to where it needs to engrave the layers, and then just kind of slowly raises it up, moving around. So it's a cool process to watch. Does take a little bit of time, depending on the detail, the whether you do kind of hollow or more solid. Takes anywhere from 15 minutes for real basic ones on up to about an hour plus for some of these. But yeah, getting the crystals for this, that's kind of the part that's in limbo of the pricing right now, because a lot of them are either available from award suppliers that sometimes require you to have like a full-on business account with them, and you go to their website and they say, click here to send an inquiry.
Yeah.
For
pricing. They don't want to disclose the price to you ahead of time.
Yeah. Or there are some of those, Alibaba, AliExpress sites that say they're really cheap, and then you look at the shipping and it's make up for it in shipping. So what I'm seeing is for these blocks, which are about inch and
48 by 48,
so just under 2 inches square by just under 4 inches square, or right around 4 inches tall, I should say. They're going to be maybe $30-ish for the blanks, give or take. So yeah, it's not necessarily the cheap, no. It's not inexpensive plywood you can find at the craft store and make some simple things. So it's a little more specialized, but you can do this. You can also do the photorealistic engravings, the award type things, the memorial type things, and people will pay a bit for that, especially when they're very much more personalized. I mean, if you got really good with a 3D scanner.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I was thinking about. I was like, if I could get to where I could do a halfway decent job of just a facial scan, not a full 360, but just a facial scan, to where you could just kind of do like, a forward, like half front hemisphere or whatever. Mm-hmm. That would be really cool for gifts and so forth. There are some softwares, and I've been playing around with some of them, that you can take a photo and put it in there, and it'll supposedly convert it over to an STL for you. But the ones I've been doing, I have been finding that it does an okay job, but like there'll be spikes. Like for some reason, it's not nailing it. Like it's not like you're extruding it in CAD software or nothing, where you have a smooth surface. It almost looks like it exploded. And so there's some of the cloud points are way outside where they should be. So I don't know how well that is going to work doing it, doing a photo to 3D, but just doing a really detailed photo. If I could get that to work, I think it would be pretty cool. I have been able to engrave to where it looks like it's white, gray, and black underneath the surface of the crystal, but it's kind of dependent on the light and the angle of the light. So a lot of times when you see these pictures that people are putting on these websites about buy this image engraved in a crystal, keep in mind they strategically place the camera, the lighting, the shadows to get the best effect, because so far I have not been able to replicate what I keep seeing in some of the marketing materials.
Yeah. It's similar to the colored engravings on stainless steel and titanium. They look great in one angle.
Yeah, you turn it and it disappears.
Yeah, sometimes a different color or disappears in others. So yeah, it's but practice and experience will tell us what else we can do. And yeah, you can do this with, if you've got thick plate glass, you can actually set your engraving kind of in the middle of it. It all has to do with where its focus point is at. Just getting these like super clear crystal blocks is a little more on the expensive side so far. Hopefully we'll find a source.
There's some testing. And I learned to stack them in there. That's a little tiny skeleton when I was practicing for my skeleton. And I've also learned too that the safest way to determine where the bottom of your engrave is going to start at is to start it on one of your testers and then look and verify and make sure it's where you want it and then start it. But you can see I tried one of those 3D images and you can see that fracturing inside there. It actually like fractured interior.
Yep.
So it's an art form, no doubt. But it's neat when it works. Like that little skeleton right there was, I mean, it's tiny, but if you take a picture of it and zoom in, it actually looks pretty good. So I gave up on images, and you can see some of these right here look overdone. They look browned. That's where I was experimenting with the speed and power settings. And like I said, you can do it like sideways. You can rotate this however, as long as you lay it out correctly in the software. It's kind of like 3D printing meets laser engraving, like as far as the way the technology works, because it starts at the bottom and works its way to the top. So,
speaking of 3D printing, give me 1 sec. I got to check this, make sure the one started okay.
Roger. Mark, the secret with the doing these, the secret is you can't have any refraction whatsoever inside there. So this has got to be perfectly clear, and it has to allow that laser beam to pass from the top all the way down to the bottom without bending it or moving it. Because if you have any anomalies or any little dots or anything inside here, it just phases out the like I can't even go through these and engrave below them, because when you hit those little parts where it's not completely clear, it just refracts the laser beam to the point to where it's no longer in focus, and it won't engrave below that. So that would be the hardest thing, is you've got to have either some ultra clear glass or some good crystal. It's not going to be something that you're going to be able to do really deep. Now, if you were doing a piece of glass, a pane of glass, and you're trying to do the middle of it, and let's say it was like a 1/4 inch or 3 millimeter glass, you could probably pull it off. I haven't tried yet, but it is very, very dependent on it being a very clear. Like you can tell, like with that, if you look when I move this thing in front of me and away from me, it's not refracting the light. See, my head's not moving like it normally would with like most other clear things. When you look through them, it refracts the light one way or the other. But with this crystal, you don't get a whole lot of refraction. So that's one of the important things about the blocks for this. It's crazy. Like it's wild. But it's fun. Like I said, I'm just trying to decide whether this is going to be something that is going to be feasible for most people. I think if you can source the crystal, and if you can get yourself into a market, that's one way to kind of like grab some pretty good profit real quick with this machine. But I don't think you need to be dependent on that, because those are going to be kind of like premium items. So, but the good news is it can still do all of the same stuff that the Omnia 1 can do as well. So what time it's not doing crystals, it can be doing, plastics and 3D printed parts and stuff like that. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, luckily my first layer is going down nicely on that 3R print, so should be good.
If you can get, the first 3 layers are critical.
Yeah. Well, I've been looking at options for kind of starter 3D printers that may not be bamboo.
What? Not bamboo?
Well, just some people, whether it's price or whatnot. So I did get in this week the FlashForge 85X, and that's got their multi-color, I think they call it an AMU, multicolor head on it. And so I've been doing a few tests with that to see how it works. actually very similar to the Bamboo printers. It uses their kind of version of the Orca slicer. They lock it down more than they need to, kind of like Bamboo, which is unfortunate. And it's not quite got the same build area. It's like 220 squared, I think, instead of 256, or cubed, I should say. So yeah, it's an option. I would probably put it closer to, as far as capabilities, closer to the A1 than say the P1S or the P1P. Even though it's a closed frame Core XY printer. So I'm doing some testing with it, and so I'll put some stuff out on that. But so far it's been working okay. Yeah, we'll see. So I started one up just a little bit ago, and I was like, oh, I forgot to check to make sure that laid down, because
Yeah,
I've actually had problems with this file before on others. So
yeah, that first couple of layers, that's what I'll go in the house to get a glass of tea or something when I start an engrave or start a print. I'll just hang out for a few minutes.
Yeah,
I'll get the first couple of 3 layers down, and then I'll tell Brandy, I'm like, hey, help me to keep an eye on that thing. If you start hearing anything weird going on over here, because it's in the house and I'm out here, and I'll keep Bamboo Labs pulled up, but when I'm working, I'm not paying that no attention.
Yeah.
But sometimes Brandy will text me, and it'll be a picture, and she'll be like, I stopped it. And it'll just, first layer came loose, and you just got this piece just coming back and forth slapping. So, yeah. Yep. Ordinary woodworkers asking, is that solid glass? These are reportedly, and from what I can tell, it's true, crystal. It's a solid block of crystal. And from my research, crystal is one of the best materials to use for this, because it is so clear, and like the refraction on it and everything is just ideal. You can use some glass, but it's one of those, it's like for the big cube like that, it's a very, very select glass. So there's a whole lot of sciencey stuff goes into it, with the whole clarity of it, and it not reflecting, not refracting. It's a mess. It's a whole big old bunch of stuff. Well, thank you. Lee says, love watching the videos you did on the crystal. I don't know if he's talking about me, you, or both, but
it's got to be you. Mine is
oh, you hadn't put one out yet? I thought you did put a short out.
Working on it.
Oh, okay. Procrastinator. No, it's been busy. We have been slammed, guys, and that's one thing. Like my channel is suffering right now, because it's like they think I quit YouTube, but I haven't. That's why I've been trying to throw some shorts out. I have been busy with all the different machines that we got coming in. Atomstack just decided that, like, third quarter of 2025, they're going to drop some products. So I've got a shop full of Atomstack gear. Y'all know about the Glacier. It's been out. It's a water-cooled 120-watt diode laser, which is kind of on the same frame as the A70 Max. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it is exactly the same frame as the A70 Max. They did some modifications, added a bigger drag chain to it, and we've got it. I've got a CNC from Atomstack that very well may, depending on the price, because I got to see where they're going to price this thing at. But depending on the price, it very well may be my new recommended beginner desktop CNC. It's right up there with the Masuda 3S and the Genmitsu 4040 Pro Max or whatever. It's right there with them as far as capabilities. Atomstack is coming out with some upgrades and additions to it. And like I said, depending on the upgrades and additions that they release, if they release what they're saying they are, and they keep it at a decent price point, it's going to be something that I think a lot of you guys that may be familiar with Atomstack, the company, might actually want to get into getting one of their CNCs. It's pretty neat. I was shocked. I was expecting it to be a flimsy little dinky CNC, but it is not. It's turned out to be a really good build so far. I'm actually still trying to do testing this stuff, because I'm trying to find some stuff to say bad about it. But so far I'm running kind of short, other than it needs dust collection. But they've done told me that that's coming. So
yeah. It's yeah, it's definitely. I don't know if people if they were holding back earlier this year, if it was some of the tariff situation or what, but it just feels like I mean I've told a number of places no, I'm just too busy. I've got actual project work I want to do.
Yes.
So, but there are some, you know, like this OmniX thing that was kind of that cool technology you want to play with and share with people and such. So yeah, there'll be a little bit of that, but I know both David and I have been talking about other project stuff and other, you know, things with holidays coming up and whatnot. So appreciate everybody sticking with us during busy times and whatnot.
Yeah. The thing about it is the stuff that I've took this month. It's not like I'm taking on new companies. Like ASMR, I've been testing their equipment since they've come out with their first machine. Atomstack actually sent me my very first laser that I got was an Atomstack. I don't know if they sent it to me or one of the resellers or whatever sent it, but the very first laser that I ever reviewed was a little three-legged P4 M90 or whatever Atomstack machine. So, and then of course when you start looking at the other machines between ASMR and Atomstack, I mean, I can't really tell them no on equipment. And like you said, ComMarker, we've worked with ComMarker a lot as well. And when they said you can do crystals with this thing, I was sold. Like they had me there. Yeah, that's it. That was the very first laser I ever got. Was just like that one. P9M40, is that what it's called? I think
Uh,
that may be the M50.
this one's actually the P7M40.
Okay.
I was just trying to check. It's I think this one's 5 watt. Yeah, this is a 5 watt.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the same thing you had, but
It's very similar if it ain't the same.
yeah.
Same
Yeah.
basic principle.
Talk about yeah, they work. They're goofy, but they work. I had to keep that one around for a while.
Yeah. Well, the one that I had, I donated to our local trade school or STEM program, whatever you want to call it, because it was like one of those machines that I never used it, and so I gave it to them where they could build like alarm clocks and stuff out of the parts, because they build like weird little things with computers that actually like do stuff. Like it may be a timer that like makes you a cup of coffee or something. They just do weird things with computers.
Speaking of earlier machines, Kevin Rich is asking a crazy question. Getting geared for the holidays, thinking of firing up D1 for the first time in years. Can it cut 1/8 basswood decently without air assist? Can't remember. Thanks.
8
Yeah. Even 5 watt diode lasers can cut clear 1/8 basswood. It's a little slow. And you do have to be careful about, you know, if you want to find that balance, you get a little slow. It's going to get really charred on the back end. But I've actually been impressed with some of the smaller lasers sent recently, like the the little Atomstack P1 and some of those other kind of portable lasers I've been testing. A lot of those don't have air assist. A lot of them are 5 to 10 watts, and yeah, they're getting through 1/8 basswood pretty well. That's actually what I kind of recommend for people with those. If you don't have air assist and maybe you're down at that 5 watt range, even they'll still work. But just do a few test cuts on it. Just make sure you're not going too slow. You might want to speed it up, add a pass or two, just to keep the charring minimal, but definitely doable.
David's asking, says LightBurn question. Occasionally when I'm working with LightBurn, the surface on the screen attaches to my mouse pointer and I have to save, exit, and restart. Is there a better way? Is he talking about on a surface, like a surface computer maybe? That sounds like a computer problem. I don't think that's a LightBurn issue.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know that I'd have to see what's going on for that one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going on there. If this is happening often, I don't remember. Does LightBurn have like an auto backup, like auto save feature? I've run into other applications where their autosave would actually cause the program to hang and sometimes crash.
It has that auto backup or whatever where it
Yeah.
creates that shadow copy.
I just don't know that that's something you can turn on or off. I know in some I've actually had to disable that, but then I have to mentally remember, hey, you've been working on this for 10, 15 minutes. Time to hit save again.
Yeah, Tommy's saying what I'm thinking. He's thinking it's like somebody's hitting the scroll wheel. So maybe it's a gesture. If it is, because it says LightBurn in the LightBurn, the surface on the screen attaches. So I'm wondering if it's a Surface computer, and if it is, those things use gestures. So one finger does one thing, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, whatever, and then you can make things bigger with like gestures. So I'm thinking it's a computer thing more so than a LightBurn thing.
Yeah. Either way, because it's either something crashing with the application or it's something in the OS that may be getting stuck. I don't know. I guess if it only happens in LightBurn, that's really weird. So I don't know if you're noticing it in other applications where maybe your mouse gets stuck, highlights things weird or whatnot. It could be a mouse click that, like Caps Lock is saying, sounds like a mouse click is stuck on the surface being dragged around. I have a Surface Pro. I don't use it a lot. I've used it for like portable engraving stuff because it's one of those low wattage. Doesn't take a lot of power to charge, so it's a great portable engraving machine, but not something I want to do a lot of work on. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard. I don't know that that's specifically LightBurn, like you say. So
yeah, I haven't had that problem using my mouse. Let's put it that way on my computer. I don't use a touchscreen if that's what you're doing, but yeah, you can use like some mouses you can actually push down on the scroll wheel and kind of like grab stuff and move it around. So I haven't seen how LightBurn responds to that. I can try it and see.
Bob's asking, what would be a good starter software for 3D design besides Tinkercad for a newbie? 3D design, really, I mean, you're kind of jumping in with both feet when you do it. I would pick something that's probably a little more popular. I would honestly, I would probably look at what is the application you think is going to run the longest, because no matter what you learn, it's going to have shortcuts and even mouse controls that are going to get kind of ingrained in you, and anytime then you switch applications. So what I would do is maybe jump into Fusion, and they kind of have a beginner public maker license that lets you do most things with it without a whole lot of cost to it. And there's a lot of good tutorials on that, and it's easily you can do your 3D designs there. You can export them to a 3D printer. You can take those designs into a CNC machine, things like that. So it's a bit daunting for someone just jumping into it. So it's not as beginner friendly as say Tinkercad is, because it has all the capabilities and all the options. But in the long run, you'll probably be happier because you won't be unlearning the things you learned in the simpler software. So that's kind of my recommendation.
Yeah. Zentenro's asking, is the Atomstack CNC belt driven? And no, it is not. It is linear rails, lead screw. Is it lead screws or ball screws? It's lead screws, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay. So I didn't even pay attention to the to the drive line, but it is very, very strong. Like even some of the things that we've complained about with other machines, as far as like the substructure below the spoil board, they did a little better job as far as putting, a couple more ribs in there and stuff like that. I can't find anything bad to say about it so far. The only thing, and Steve said I was just being picky. The only thing is I'm not a fan of the color scheme and some of the graphics that they put on it. I kind of wish they'd have went with like a cool Knight Rider black and chrome or something, kind of like the Shapoko. Because if it was black all over, it would look like somebody had shrunk a Shapoko 5. That's what it looks like to me. Like if you look at the two machines, there's some covers and some minor differences, but it looks like you shrunk the Shapeoko 5 Pro into a smaller form factor.
It looks like a lot of different CNC machines. I don't know that I'd peg it as one, but yeah, it's.
Well, that is.
I know, but people, they compare everything to their first car, and everything's like that or compared to that. It's, but no, it's there's some minor quirks to it, but I think they've actually done their research on this one, and they didn't. We've seen some companies that have been producing open frame lasers, and they swap the head for a spindle, and they go, "Ooh, we have a CNC," and you're like, "No, you don't." This one looks a lot better.
Yeah, you have a power scratcher. Is what a lot of them make. Is just like a power scratcher. But yeah, this one definitely has a lot more potential. They like Steve said, they definitely went around and looked at what people were saying about the different machines and kind of drew from that, because they did borrow some of the things that work well and kind of put them together in a small package.
Let's see here.
I saw somebody earlier mention something about the new X tool. Trying to keep up with these questions, but it's tough. Yeah, Tom, 31 days. 31 days. Anyway, somebody was asking, I can't find the comment. I don't remember who it was, about X-Tool's new P3 that they're coming out with. And it looks interesting. X-Tool has retooled the way they do business and the way they do things. So as far as like me getting one, I don't see that happening. I don't think that's going to happen. And it's not that like we ain't hating on each other or anything, but they've basically sent out some contracts to folks and asked for folks to sign contracts to continue with their marketing stuff. That is a cattail. Yeah. And and when they sent me the contract, there wasn't anything really severe in there that I disagreed with, except for like a clause that I had to make, 13 or 16 videos a year, I think it was, for them. And I just don't like being committed to people. And I like to be able to determine what videos I'm going to do, when I'm going to do them, and that kind of thing. And so I didn't sign it. And so I'm not very high up their ranks as far as who gets machines anymore. Like I said, I still like their products. I still think they have a good product. I think as far as like, company owned softwares, I think theirs is probably the best one going. But you probably won't be seeing any of the new X-Tool stuff in my shop anytime soon because of them, not because of me. Because they, like I said, they have taken their marketing stuff and just condensed it down to a select group of people. And I'm not in that group. So I'm still an affiliate, but I'm not like, I'm not on their marketing team, so to speak. So
yeah, they offered contracts for some. They didn't offer me anything. But they've been really pushing, hey, can you promote this sale? Hey, can you promote this new laser that you've never seen? And, we're basically giving you all the information for it. And I'm like, no, that's not what I do. And it's kind of, yeah, we're not on the list of people apparently for their new stuff. So nothing against them. But I just don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of their gear unless
unless they have extra or something, who knows?
Well, I mean that or if it's that good and you and I were to buy it, I just
yeah. Yeah, it's hard for me to justify buying a laser these days, though, unless it's something really special that I need for jobs, because I have done a pretty good job of taking what I have and creating sales with them and stuff. So, but yeah, but that's where we're at right now. Nothing against them, but I mean, you guys know that the last machine they sent me was the F1 Ultra. I've still got it. It's a great machine. I don't use it as much as I use other machines, so I don't keep it like readily available per se. But it is a good machine. And currently, I've been running the Atomstack Polar Plus, but it had a little bit of a malfunction. Apparently, I have somehow or another managed to kill my main power supply or the controller. They're not sure which. So I had went to it and had it set up, and it never fails. Got it set up just the way I wanted it set up. And now I got to put a new power supply or a new controller in it. I'm leaning towards power supply because it made a weird popping noise when I turned it on. And I heard it, and it sounded like an arc. And I immediately went to thinking, is this what Steve had going on with his? But it wasn't firing. It was just powering up. So I'm like, how am I hearing a high voltage crack on the power up? So I'm thinking that was the transformer inside the power supply giving up the ghost. But we'll see. I want to try to fix it, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna throw too much time and effort into it at this point because I got other machines, and right now I am busy, so I don't have time to, be working on it a whole lot right now. I may have to just stick it to the side and work on it when I get a chance. I do still have my P2 sitting right over there because I always keep a backup. For every machine in the shop, I've got one that can do the job if it needs to. Yeah, Robbie said it was him saying that they were dropping I think he means P3.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting looking machine. It's got a bigger work area. Like I said, the only thing with that one, I need a CO2 that can do tumblers, because I do have tumbler customers that every so often, like a couple times a year, I got to do like 50 tumblers. And so I can do them with one of these fibers. That's not a problem. I can do them with the laser or the Rolly. I can do them with the F1. I can do them with the F2 Ultra, but I want a CO2 for tumblers. It's just so much easier. And so I'm still not convinced that I ain't going to end up just buying me a machine to do tumblers and some other stuff with.
Well, now that is one thing I believe they addressed with the P3 is it sounds like they made like I forget what they're calling it, but almost like a mag lock location in the base, that it helps lock the accessories into a known spot.
That would be nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think they heard the frustration on trying to get things aligned with the rotary on the P2 and P2S. And so they did improve that. I do like the working area of it. With 18 by 36, I think it was what it is.
Yeah, that's going to be nice.
So, it'd be nice if my thing there is that it's it's at that price point where you're getting into some of those larger cabinet lasers anyway. So I would really have to kind of look at that versus, kind of some of the, like the Pronto series of Atomstack or some of the lower end Thunder lasers and such. I think one of the things it comes down to is if you really are into the X-Tool software, this is going to be a really nice step up for you. If you're really hung up on LightBurn, I think this is getting further and further away of having LightBurn compatibility. And you're gonna pay a premium for some of those nice features that only work in XCS. So it gets in that point where if you're an X-Tool loyalist, it's probably an easy answer. If you're happier with LightBurn, you're probably starting to look at some of the other options as well.
Yeah, and that's where, because I like LightBurn. I don't use the smart features, and like I see these like Monport come out with that Mega. I was like, oh man, this is going to be nice because they had a bigger work area, more output and all that, and they messed it up trying to make it a smart laser. if they'd have just made it a GRBL, LightBurn controlled laser, and spent a little more money on the air assist, that would have been a good machine. But they messed around and put a controller in it that was made for their Monport software, and it was a nightmare. It just didn't work. I've still got the machine. It's in a crate, and I'm going to be honest with you. I have thought about trying to swap it over, but there again, you start getting into, okay, now I've got a Frankenstein machine that if it does tear up, it's going to take a harder time to fix it. And at what point does my time working on it not equate just, just go get me another one. Just get me one. Just get me a Thunder. Get me a one of the Ohmtech, more commercialized Ohmtechs or whatever. Because that right now, that's where I'm at. I'm either Ohmtech or Thunder. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Look at the price. Ohmtech's got my attention. And all it would really take was for them to be like, okay, we'll let you have it at half price. Them or Thunder at this point, and I would probably own one. Because I do feel like if I'm going to be using it in videos and stuff, I feel like maybe they should just give me a little bit of a break on it under the circumstances. But
well, and other things that we're seeing even in the non-smart lasers, but these kind of all-in-ones.
Yeah,
it's if you're not happy with if the water chiller or water radiator or whatever they've got for cooling in it that's built in isn't good enough for your environment, it's sometimes really hard to swap that out. Same thing with the air assist. Sometimes that's really hard to swap out and replace. And so, it's kind of like if it works for you, great, but you are very much locked into how they have it manufactured, designed, replacement parts. Like, you get one of these larger cabinet lasers, you're going to have more flexibility in what laser tube you replace it with.
Oh, you should have seen me trying to find the power supply in this Polar. I had to take the whole top of the machine apart to find the power supply. I'm like, you see some of these cabinet machines where you just take a key and open a door and everything's like neatly mounted right there. Not with the Polar. I mean, I like the machine. It does a good job, but when it comes to having to work on it, that's where it's a little frustrating. They did as good as you probably could with such a compact machine, but compact just means there's no extra space in it. That's what that boils down to. But like I said, I emailed them back. I've got to get caught up to where I can set it over here on the table because I can't work on it where it's sitting. And once I get it on the table, I'm going to check the voltage going out of the, through the relays and into the power supply and check the output voltage from the power supply and all that. I got to do some more troubleshooting before I can tell them, what parts I need. Because right now it could be the main power supply or it could be the controller. I'm leaning heavy power supply because nothing is coming on inside it. Not even the lights, the water pump, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, generally there, but I mean, check the wiring because I thought that on my original one, and it was actually I had two different things fail. One, it was the actual just on-off switch. Things had loosened up. Also, e-stop buttons. I've had those things fail. And again, sometimes that, you have to be, when you're troubleshooting these lasers, you got to get in there with a voltmeter and just start tracing the power.
Well, that pop that I heard too, very well could have been an arc inside a plastic coupler.
Yep. Yeah. So like on a lot of the cabinet lasers, inside the switch is where the fuse hides.
Yeah, I pulled that out last night.
Yeah. So like people don't know to look there. Those like the e-stop switches, they can, you don't even have to necessarily actuate it many times. And sometimes the spring or something in there will fail. So yeah, there are a couple times I thought I needed a new power supply in my other one, and luckily I didn't. But yes, it what you told me, it does kind of sound suspect.
Yeah, and I've checked the reason that I think that it's getting power at least to the key switch on the front of it, which is off and on, is because when I turn the switch on, you can hear there's a relay in there, and the relay actually you can hear it click and engage. So the relay's getting power from somewhere. So it's coming into the cabinet, but yeah, I'm gonna have to get it out and get it down here on the table where I can get around it. Cause I was over here standing on the ladder, bent over the side of my counter trying to read, and it's a matter of time before I fall off that little step ladder. So I'm gonna wait until I get these stove covers out of here and get caught up, and I'll get it down. And I'm hoping that it's simply a wire pop loose, or maybe a fuse somewhere popped off the board. But, either way, it can be fixed. It's just frustrating because I just got it on there. Yeah, Chris, I've heard caps pop before. This was not a cap pop. Like, it wasn't a blowing the cotton out of one type sound. This was more of a, like it was more of a arc, like a 1/4 inch long arc inside a plastic tube is what it sounded like. And so, but it did happen while the machine was doing a speed and power test. So it could have been that the tube arc to the chassis after I fired it up. But the pop I heard was when I first turned the key and turned it on. The tube was not energized then. So, and the lid was open when I turned it on. And so it has safety switches that will not allow the tube to fire with the lid open. So therefore, I don't think it's tube related, because all those things considered, it's got to be somewhere in the power supply, or either a relay that helps the power supply kick up. So we'll figure it out. Like I said, I'll figure it out, but it's really got me down because I'm so busy right now. I ain't got time to stop and fix it. Yeah. I was out here last night till about midnight checking fuses and taking panels apart, because it is a little bit, you got to disassemble it a little bit to get to the guts. But it's not as bad as some that I've been in, because I have been into a couple of them that were terrible. So it wasn't that bad, but it's still no cake. It still would have been nicer if I could have just turned some keys and everything been just like on a wall. That would have been really nice.
Yep. Yeah, there is an advantage of those larger cabinet style ones, but they do take up some space that way. Melissa's saying X-Tool is my first and only laser I've owned. Guess I need to do more research. We're not saying that X-Tool is bad. No, and actually they've done great. I mean, if you are completely new to it and you want a software that makes things easier, XCS has been great at kind of overcoming the difficulty of material testing and just getting started. And a lot of people, they love it and they stick with it, and it works great for them. I think it's wonderful that they have developed their software in a way that they continue to include it with their machines, that it just works with them. But there are also people who they feel a little bit limited by them. They do lock some things down. You don't have as much control, which is good. It's kind of like having bumpers on the bowling alley. It's going to keep you on the lane, and you're going to at least hit some pins rather than striking out all the time. So I still have my S1 down in my shop here. It's hooked up to the AP2 in my basement work area. That setup is awesome for me. And I use it on a lot of projects and such that, if I have a quick thing I need to do in here and I don't want to go out to the main shop, I still like those lasers. But as other people have mentioned, this year they have been releasing more expensive, higher end machines that is kind of above the hobbyist budget in a lot of cases, and kind of separating themselves from that kind of DIY beginner market a little bit. So I don't think you made a bad purchase, and it's getting you into this hobby or into this business. But there are definitely some other options as you move forward that you may want to consider, whether it's to save money or have some more flexibility in capabilities and such with software. So don't feel bad about your purchase. It's gotten you in this, and hopefully it's doing well.
No, if like I said, if family members ask me a lot of times, hey, I want to get into this, but I don't know what what would be a good machine, and it is a good machine, especially for somebody that's new. It's a really good machine. I like their products. My very first laser was an X-Tool. My second one that I bought them, both of them were X-Tools. And I've had several since then. And up until the past few months, I've had at least one X-Tool on my starting lineup in here. But it's just other companies are sending me machines that are more powerful and can do the same job. And so X-Tool is kind of getting pushed off the table, so to speak. Because if I've got a 40 watt, a 30 watt, and a 20 watt, and they're all taking up space in my shop, I can do with the 40 watt what I could do with the 30 and the 20. So I can move them somewhere else and have that space back. That's the situation with me. It's nothing against the machines. It's just I can't find a reason to justify keeping a 20 watt fiber laser on this table right here when I've got a 60-watt MOPA, a 30-watt MOPA, and 2 UVs sitting there. So it's, you know, it's just a matter of their products are getting outpowered as new stuff comes into the shop. So I still like the company. I still like the tools. The AP2 is the only air purifier on the market that I have had my hands on that actually works with any kind of confidence. Now, you will have to buy new filter elements for it eventually. But when you hook it to a machine, it actually gets the smoke and the smell out of the air. So
yeah,
you know, that's a thing that matters if that's what you're needing to get. Somebody was asking me about the X1. And no, I haven't gotten rid of it yet. I don't have a whole lot of room in my shop. You guys know that. And I have physical products that I sell that I have to make and have to get out of the shop. There it is. So what I did, what I could, and that is I put it out on the front porch. It's got a roof over it. Right now it's below freezing. It is water cooled. So with this machine, that is a concern. If once it gets down below freezing, if it's still out there, I will have to put some antifreeze in it. But I don't plan on it being out there that long. Klein is wanting to take it to his house. He has room in his garage, he said, because he likes making really large things. And it's great for that. Now, I saw the advertising, guys. If you're wanting to engrave 50 of these, that's not your machine. Okay. I just throw that out there. I would not recommend the X1 for doing 50 of these. Could you? Sure. But you're going to need a ladder or like a handle in the ceiling to be able to lean over the top of the machine and reach into the middle of the work area and place them and pick them up, because you can't. I'm not a small guy. All right. I'm over 6 foot tall, but I have to reach from one side, and I still can't reach the middle of the work area. I have to walk all the way around to the other side and reach in from the other side. So that also, not only is this machine big, but you have to have a catwalk on both sides of it, because you have to walk if you're going to be putting small stuff in there. The way that I've been using it, I've been putting one side against a wall, but I'm just loading big materials in there, or either I'm just loading a few small things up near the edge that I'm closest to. And that works good for me. So it's, like I said, it's cool. I wanted to see it because it is a cool machine, just like this thing over here. Will this thing get to live here? I don't know. But that's Atomstack's 120 watt Glacier. So far, it works. It's an Atomstack. It does what Atomstacks do. What Atomstacks do. But, you know, I don't know right now where it fits in my workflow, because right now I don't have an enclosure on it. And if I run it, I have to open the doors and stay outside while it's running, because it'll run you out of here. It creates a lot of smoke.
Yeah. And that's, like you pointed out on that one, even on the Glacier, it's kind of that size. Not only do you have to have the room for the machine, but you have to have room around the machine to be able to service and get at things. So it definitely takes up more space, where, you know, wide is one thing, but if it's deep, if it's only so deep that you can reach in and reach that back end, now you only have to be able to get around it if for some reason something needs adjusting or whatnot. But the day-to-day use, and that's why I like both in CNC routers and lasers, give me something that's 3 to 4 feet wide and maybe 18 to 24 inches deep, 36 at the utmost, really, unless I'm prepared to have more of like a mobile, you know, space around it. So
yeah, 36 by 24. To me, that is the perfect size work area for 99% of people.
Yeah.
Because that's not so big that you've got to take up the whole half of your garage. But 36 inches for like the signs that I do and the engraves that I do and stuff, rarely do I get anybody want anything wider than 36 inches. Yeah, if you've got a machine that you can shove a 4x8 sheet of plywood through it and use it like a rip saw, that's great. You know, if you have room for that. Me personally, I don't have room for it. Even if I could put a 4 foot wide CO2 laser in here because I don't think I would because that's just too much. The 32 inches that Atomstack has on the X40, the way the X40 is laid out to where it's like 32 by 17 and a half or 18, that's as close to perfect of a work dimension as I've seen so far. 24 by 36, I think would be awesome. These machines like that one over there, that's the Atomstack one, the Hurricane, or not Hurricane, the Glacier, it's 800, roughly 800 by 800. And that's like Steve said, 800 by 500, 800 wide by 500 deep would be great in my opinion, or like 850 by 500, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, getting to that 36-inch width would be kind of my sweet spot. So.
Yeah. Alan says the $7,000 base price tag of the P3 is steep for a lot of people. And I agree with that. I mean, you've got to when you start dropping that kind of coin on a machine, you better either have extra money, you come into a windfall or whatever, or you're just wanting it because you want it and you're willing to spend the money and not worry about a return, or either you better have a working business model when you buy that, because that's a lot of money, and it takes a lot of time to recoup your money, especially that much, because that's not just taking little baby steps. That's jumping into the deep end of the pool.
Yep. Well, and that's kind of the same thing when you see people with their larger lasers. Generally, they've got a business flow for it and a need. So, D-Diggs is asking, what do you do with waste? We know you can't use every piece of material. Well, I just have to share this. I saw this on Facebook Marketplace. It's someone selling laser cut geometric shapes. $5 for a 4-pound bag, variety of shapes from 1/8 inch.
Hey, if you wanted some firewood on a budget and you didn't care what was in it, that might be your thing, because that's obviously plywood, so there's going to be some adhesives in there. But if you don't mind what the smoke smells like on their fire, maybe that's what you use in your fire pit.
Well,
me personally, I keep like larger pieces that may be useful, but there comes a point to where it goes from trying to be conservative to hoarding because it accumulates fast around here. Like I just burned some last week and my scrap pile's back like it was. So
yeah, I have some extra 5-gallon buckets that they're right by my table saw, because a lot of times it's hardwood offcuts, and there's occasionally I'll pull something out of there and use it for something, whether it's testing a CNC or a laser for something, or it might just be like I actually found that size that I can still reuse. But a lot of times it's more the one-off things. It's not so much production to try to maximize waste. The time to do that is as you're setting up the file, is put it in there as well. If you're trying to go back and reuse, chunks of material for production stuff, I think you're probably using more time than is worth just using some fresh material. So yeah, I put them in there. A lot of the thin plywood though, that just kind of ends up in the bin. I don't like burning a lot of it because it, like you mentioned, the glues and the resins in there, they don't make for a fun fire. But a lot of my hardwood, solid wood stuff, yeah, we burn it in the kind of backyard fire pit every so often.
Say if you got pine and cedar, even cedar, I wouldn't burn a lot of cedar, but if you just got regular hardwoods and just like some poplar and stuff like that stuff's great for your backyard fire pits. But the OSBs and the MDFs and the plywoods, that's a whole different animal. Yeah. I burn all of it, but I'm not, I've got plenty of room where I could burn it, especially depending on which way the wind's blowing. And it's, nobody's going to know I'm even burning the stuff.
Now, that being said, I have had, so I used to cut out these glue caddies, and I had a lot of like 1-inch circles. And I did have people who are like, hey, I can use those. So I'd be like, all right, I'll throw them in a bag for you. You can just come take them. So it is kind of nice when you can find someone who might actually need some of those. But yeah, it's tough. for plywood, thin plywood leftovers. So I just try to plan accordingly. And sometimes if you know you're going to have a section in there and you can drop in a whatever blank of something that you sell a lot and maybe you'll customize later, throw that on the file just to use up that material. But other than that, it's unfortunately ends up in the burn pile or sometimes just in the garbage bag.
Yeah. Yeah, Travis says X tools top influencers act as scheduled teachers now, which is funny considering that many of them don't fully understand what their machines can actually do. And like I said, I know some of these guys that are still with them, and it's nothing against them. It's a business decision on their part. Just like mine and Steve's business models are not the same. Like we do things differently. So do other people, you know. And if that's how they choose to run their business, that's them. You know, it didn't fit what I wanted from my channel or whatever. And so that's, like I said, that's why I didn't go with it. I don't know. Maybe that's they say us Southerners are more rebellious and like, don't like, going with the flow and all that. Maybe that's it. I don't know. And I didn't like the way that it played out and the way it was going. And so I chose to go my own little path. Like I said, nothing against them. Like I said, I know some of the guys, and me and Steve have hung out with them in person, and they're good folks. And it was a business decision for them, just like it was for me and Steve. We chose our business to go this way. They chose their business to go that way. And I don't blame anybody for doing what they feel is in their best interest.
Yeah. I like to keep, I like to keep things open as far as my, what I'm doing. I don't want to be tied down to
exclusivity.
It's well, yeah. I mean, because for a lot of this, for me, it's playing around, seeing what I can do, being able to offer more things, and as I've mentioned in some of my videos, I come from both my mom and my grandma were teachers. It's just kind of in my nature to try to like encourage people, show people how they can do things and whatnot. And sometimes that means like, hey, here's a cool new machine. Sometimes here's some different software, or hey, here's a fun project. Let me show you how I do it. And sometimes I maybe get a little too much into the explanation of it, and then it ends up being way too long a video. But yeah, I like being able to kind of be somewhat on my own terms. I don't like, and it also makes it easier to, when something is bad, to say, this isn't good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I definitely am not going to be exclusive to one company, because it's hard for me to tell you guys that this machine is the best one I've tried out if I've only tried out machines from one company. So, which I try to stay away from that anyway, because I think best is a matter of perspective. Like, it depends on what your idea of best is. Is that best quality, best speed, best clarity, best resolution, best at smoke containment, best affordable? I mean, best is one of those things that it's a matter of perspective. So, Miles is saying that X-Tool P3 bed is big. What about the Com Marker Omni X for tumblers? Miles, the Omni, even the regular Omni one, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're not wanting to do crystal, or you're not wanting to do things that require a powered Z-axis, the Omni one's just, I mean, it's LightBurn compatible, whereas the Omni X isn't currently. And that's really the only benefit this machine has over this one is the crystal stuff, the active Z movement stuff. Other than that, like, doing tumblers, doing other things, unless you need that Z axis, it's not
Well,
that
and it has a built-in enclosure.
Yeah, but the jury's still out on how I feel about the enclosure right now. It needs some tweaking. It's
right, but it's better than not having one at all, is what I'm getting at.
But I found they actually sell one for the Omni.
They do, but so. It's an add-on,
So we'll see. But I like it. I like the whole crystal thing. I think that's a market that I would like to get into. And also, I've been playing around with doing like the embossing, like with the slate where it drops down each time and it goes deeper and deeper. I haven't mastered the embossing yet. I use slate, and slate does generate a whole bunch of dust, but it was fun to practice. Let's see what else we got.
Yellow is asking, what current laser would you recommend for cutting aluminum sheet metal to make custom avionics instrument panels, 1/4 or 1/8 inch thick, 2024 T3? I don't know that a laser is the way to go unless you need like really small, tight things cut out. You're probably going to be better. I mean, ideally like a water jet, but even a CNC router is going to do better at that. It's going to take quite the laser to cut through 1/8 inch aluminum sheet.
Unless you get one of the big boy, like commercial ones.
Well, right, but it's
you're not gonna want to buy that. No,
you're doing some serious business then. But yeah.
Jim asked, have I looked into a 30-watt CO2 galvo for tumblers? No, I would love a CO2 galvo for tumblers. I looked at them recently, and the only two companies that I found that sold one already put together without having to do some like magical stuff with the source was Cloud Ray and what's that guy's name?
Ocean.
Hey Ocean, yes. That was the only two companies that I found that offer one like already put together. Other than that, yes, you could go and get a source and get in there and pray that everything lines up and goes back together. I'm not really into doing that. But if I can't find one, maybe that's a possibility one day. But yeah, I would love to have a CO2 galvo for tumblers. And I'll tell you one thing that I have seen that if I could get on the list for them, I would love to have one. And that is that new machine that they had at LBX. That's basically was it one laser that created it to where it's like a galvo machine. Like if that's what you set the tumbler in there, and the gantry goes up and down.
Yeah, I can't remember,
but I don't remember who made the machine. But if I could get my hands on one of those, that'd be nice because it had a really oversized chuck. And and the cool thing I liked about the way they had it designed is if it's a heavy object, you don't have to worry about the chuck tipping because the way that it was oriented, the weight would just be sitting on the rotary axis. Directed Tech says it's a one laser. Yeah. If I could get my hands on one of those, that would be cool for tumblers. Because other than that, I mean, that and some sheet, like clear sheet, that's all I use CO2s for anyway. I don't use them on wood typically. I mean, you can, but I don't typically. So yeah, if I had one of those and my Ohm Tech or the P2 for acrylic, I'd be good. Until something really cool come out, then I'd want it.
Sure. Gray Vikings asking me, what kind of headphones am I using? Look good, sounds good if you're using the mic. I don't know. These actually came from, there was an esports place that closed down. They tried to open up and COVID didn't do well for them. And so they auctioned off all their equipment. And so these came with one of the computers I purchased with them. I'm actually not using the microphone on here. I have fancy microphone.
Big fancy, sure. I'm talking about
on this one. So that's audio quality is something if you're doing videos, it's huge. So I've got this one on here that I've used for a number of years between work and here and other things. I bought a less expensive similar one that's out in the shop when I'm out there. But yeah, I don't even remember the brand name of these. There's a weird handprint on the side. Bloody. So it says.
Do they even make them anymore?
Yeah. But I'm glad it sounds good.
Yeah. All right. John's asking, maybe it was asked earlier, but what do you guys think about the new 3D color changers that are coming out? the tool changers. I think he's talking about the one where it changes basically the whole hot end and everything.
So Snapmaker has theirs that's on Kickstarter, and Bamboo has kind of teased their version of it. And yeah, I think it's great because it's number one complaint about these multicolor when you're doing an actual multicolor print is every time it needs to change color, it's going to purge the old color. It's going to purge some of the new color, print that, purge, every time it switches, it's creating waste. And in some cases, if you're doing a one-off, you end up using more filament in the purge than you do on the final product. So this should speed up those prints. It should reduce waste. And hopefully they work well. Tool changers, when everything's going well, they work wonderful. And when they start breaking, it's kind of like that cool toy in your car that used to work and now it doesn't, and it really frustrates you that it doesn't. So they're kind of brand new in the 3D printing world this year, but I'm glad to see it because multicolor is fun, but it slows things down and it wastes a lot of filament. I think that's where you're going to see a lot of benefit to it. So I'm excited to see those two. I'm probably not going to jump on either one of them right away, just between time and money. I'll let other people test them out, but I'm excited to see where they go.
Yeah. Elo, no, and that's one reason why I'm not certain it didn't pop a fuse, trip a breaker, or have some type of component failure other than it actually burn up, is because I didn't smell that. Which now keep in mind, it was doing a speed power test when it kaputted. So any kind of smell would have probably been sucked out immediately by the ventilation and covered by the smell of burnt wood. But even the other day when I was working on it, sticking my head over in there, I don't smell the whole, the overheat smell or anything like that in there. But we're getting there and figure it out. I got to get to where I can see everything a little better without being up on a step stool. So we'll get to it and see what happens. But worst case scenario, I'll put the P2 back in line and just continue to save my pennies until I can get me a bigger CO2 machine. Because I've planned on, if I can get a bigger CO2 machine, I can reclaim some territory. But I got to have one big enough to do stove covers in. And then I could use EnclosureZilla for testing some of these machines that I don't have room for as well also. But I do plan on keeping a machine, a diode machine in my EnclosureZilla because I still like my diodes. I love them.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when they first came out, like in that 1 and 2 watt range, Atura was a Furo, and I think they had emailed me because I had just started posting some videos on my other laser, my eBay CO2, some how-tos and whatnot. And they're like, "Hey, you want to check these out?" And I was kind of like, I don't see what I would do with one of those. And then enter Xtool with the D1 and their 10 watt and starting to see the capabilities of that. I'm like, that actually could be pretty cool. I was thinking at the time for model airplane people because so many people like to build their own kits and the kit industry has been shrinking. So then they got to cut them themselves. And I thought, this might be a way that a hobbyist could do it without a huge investment. And that kind of started the ball rolling that way. And since then, even though I've got some CO2 machines and others, definitely diodes are going to be in my shop for a while. They're easy. They give a different burn. If you're wanting to customize new engravings, it's easier to get a nice dark, crisp burn out of them. So yeah, it's definitely something that's going to be in my shop for a while.
DDIGZ says I had to add distilled water to my Polar Omtech the other day for the first time. I bought the coolant but used distilled water. I didn't find a leak from the original fluid. Any thoughts? As long as it's, if it's getting out of there and it's not enough that you're seeing any wetness anywhere, I would definitely keep an eye on it. But as long as it's not going inside the tube, fix it if you can. But again, if you're only having to add water every 6 months and you're only having to add a quarter of a cup. How much work you willing to do to stop that? So because if it's not enough that you can't obviously see that it's leaking, because it could be in the radiator, it could be in a hose, it could be the actual pump itself having a little bit of issue, but you would think that you'd be able to find it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's that slow, especially on the polars, unless you're purposely looking at because you got to stick your head in the machine and look at the level. It's not like the external units where you have that little water level bubble just kind of right up front and center. I could see it being kind of, if it was a slow leak, something that evaporates pretty quick. Over time, you might lose a little bit. I mean, and you also got to, those don't hold a whole lot of water in those internal units. These external units, they're like, gosh, what do I end up putting in them? Like 2.5 gallons?
I was gonna say, it's a couple of gallons.
Yeah, into a 5,000 series. So, I guess I probably wouldn't be very concerned about that unless you really started tracking it a little more closely. Having to top off a little bit without things getting wet, it's not the end of the world. And I wouldn't worry about the coolant unless you're. I mean, honestly, you should have it in. If you're having to worry about coolant or antifreeze, probably time to look at conditioning the area you're in.
Yeah.
If you're using it that much. So.
Yep. Dave is saying that my P2 has issues with Wi-Fi, like doesn't see any networks. Xtool says there are no user serviceable modules. Suggest shipping the whole thing back to a service center. Yeah, and that's, like I said, that's part of it with these machines. I had to replace the board in my S1. Now, as far as like with the P2, it's a lot more compact and stuff jammed in there a little more than even the S1. So, yeah, you probably, I mean, when you start disassembling that machine to get to where that module is, that's where you start realizing that those really big machines with the doors where everything's just like stuck to the wall, that is long term. That is pretty cool if you ever do have to work on it. The smaller form factor machines are great until, like I said, until something breaks, because everything's just like piled on top of each other. And it is getting hot in here. Why is it getting so hot? Biscuit, what have you done to the air conditioner, buddy?
Say, did someone start a fire below you?
I don't guess. It's at 80 degrees in here is what it says. 81 on my. I think my little mini split might be needing a checkup. I might have to get my brother-in-law to come over and check that thing out, because it wasn't that hot outside today. It shouldn't be that hot in here tonight.
Yeah, everybody says get a mini split, but here we see Clack just having issues with it.
Well, no, Clack did get a little too small of a mini split. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that out there. I should have gotten one bigger than what I got. I was concentrated more about budget than I was efficiency, and that was a mistake on my part. I should have concentrated more on efficiency and less on budget. But now the $1,200 that I spent on this unit has been well worth it up until this point. But I'm not saying that there might not be an upgrade or an additional unit put in the shop before it's over with.
Yeah, maybe someday. Let's see.
Kevin is asking, have you played any more with the Monport Mega? No, I have not, because they have not changed their software from what I was told. I haven't heard anything. Like I said, build wise, I think they've done some really good things on it. That controller and their software, not so much. I got it to where it was doing okay, but that was with me putting shop air on it and modifying things, and I've considered going in there and putting my own controller in there and redoing it, but that's a lot of work for a Frankenstein machine when you get done with it. So I just don't have the time to devote to it right now.
You got Brett lurking out there, and he was confirming it's the One Laser Vertigo that does that vertical cup engraving. So
yeah, that thing looked wicked.
Yeah, I believe they were at the Next Level Laser Conference that happened this past weekend down in Grapevine, Texas. It does sound like they are planning to be there. I think they said the next 2 years, and it's going to be kind of this last week in August, which is really unfortunate for me because that is like fall semester startup for us. So, but they're also changing it from the Next Level Laser Conference to the Next Level Maker Conference. So it sounds like they're trying to attract more
just
general stuff, you
spreading
know,
out a little more.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, something to keep an eye on. A lot of people seem to enjoy it. And I'm sure we'll hear a little bit more of it. I think Laser Engraving 911, Michael was over there doing some videos as well. Did a walkthrough of like the vendor area and such. So maybe something we'll see about next year. But yeah, like I said, it's gonna be hard for me.
Yeah, Jesse's saying he's got an X Tool S1, F1 Ultra that we create 40 watt and have a Monport Mega on its way. Have not mastered LightBurn yet. Now I don't know how I feel about the Mega. I hope they have fixed it for your sake. I really do. I was excited when they told me about the machine, how big it was going to be, the wattage. And the first question I asked is it LightBurn compatible? And they're like, oh, yeah, LightBurn compatible. And I'm like, all right, yes, I'll try it out. And then when I got mine, of course, at first they're like, oh, well, it ain't quite LightBurn, so, compatible yet. And I'm like, oh, great. I hate hearing that. Steve can testify to the fact that when you hear that, that's generally not a good sign. But there were some good things about it, and maybe the newer versions, maybe they've got it worked out. The one that I got was an early machine, like almost, I think it was even a beta, but there was some serious things with it that just didn't work. It's kind of like buying a car, Not everybody wants a vehicle that like has 360-degree cameras and can park itself and has app control and all that. Some of us just want like a 1993 Toyota with a 5-speed transmission and some manual windows. I mean, so that's the difference between like some of these smart lasers and what I want. I just want something that works. I want simple and works. I don't need a camera that can just magically place my graphic where it thinks it's supposed to be, because I haven't found one of those that's very accurate. I don't need no conveyor that's just like bringing them through there. I don't need that. I need the old 1993 Toyota Tacoma, 5-speed in the floor with manual windows and an AM radio. That's all I need.
Wow. AM radio?
Yeah. You didn't have one of those?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, nowadays,
AM FM cassette.
I mean, I'll take the rest of the vehicle and swap out the head for maybe a newer, because it's funny. Someone actually asked me the other day.
You saying you got to have your Apple Play?
I don't need Apple Play. I don't really use Apple products for that. No, I need my, but yeah, no, it was funny. Someone asked me the other day, have you listened to the local radio stations lately? I'm like, no. So it's, yeah, it's, I need a little bit more than that, but that's one of those things that's easy to swap out.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is sometimes the bells and whistles is just not needed if you're not using them. And I wish companies would offer a smart version and a dumb version. That way you don't have to, to get the bigger machine with the more power, you ain't got to get the smart version. Because if they'd have made that Mega with just like the same controller they use in that, what is that Reno that you've got? Mm-hmm. That works. I mean, it's not fancy, but it works. If they'd have put that controller in that Mega, that's all I needed. That's all I needed. Didn't need all the other stuff. Brian's asking. A cat. Biscuit was laying over, passed out in front of the cat door, and a cat jumped through the hole, landed on him, and he come up real fast.
I see.
Oh,
Uh,
Callie, you done scared Biscuit. What you scared Biscuit for?
TJ Michael's asking, would a Bamboo X1C be a good first-time 3D printer? I mean, that's jumping way in.
It'd be a great first time printer.
Yeah, I've had, so I mean, you can see behind me here, I got the A1 Mini, and then there's the P1S there. Those have all been great as far as first time 3D printing. The X1C is just going to expand your capabilities, be faster, more, a little bit better cameras and such on there. Do you need one of those as a first time printer? Depends on what you're going to be working with. I mean, there's the adage of, buy once, cry once, so if you're going to be in the Bamboo line anyway, go for the biggest one you can get. But you can do a lot with even the open frame A1 here. It's when you get into the high temp materials, you definitely want an enclosure. And that's why I end up with the P1S as well, is that that'll be a little more capable. But yeah, there's people who won't like Bamboo because of the closed nature of their infrastructure and such. And you can run them in LAN only mode to get the best out of them. You want to run them in the, internet attached cloud-based stuff. Some people don't like that as well, but for a beginner getting into 3D printing, the Bamboo line is kind of hard to beat for kind of all around ease. But they do kind of lock you down from playing too much with making internal changes and such. So just be forewarned about that if that's something you're worried about.
Yeah, like I said, I've got the A1, which is the one that's directly over Steve's shoulder there, the closest to the edge of the screen. And I love my A1. I had, up until recently, I had always just printed in PLA. And I'm still printing a lot in PLA, but I've moved up to PETG because the reason I didn't use PETG before was when I had the Creality Enders, the PLA was kind of like the easy button. And then as you went up, the machine had to be kind of on its game a little better to do PETG and then ABS and all these other ones. So I had always just stayed with PLA because it didn't expose my printer's shortcomings. But now that I've got the A1, like I could print with ABS, PLA, whatever, or not ABS, I haven't done it, but PETG or PLA, and you can't tell the two apart as far as the print quality goes. And so now when I reorder my filament as I use it up, I'm going to PETG, except maybe the orange, because I don't know if they have the orange PETG. The black, the whites, those colors, I'm definitely going to the PETG. Like I made a little bracket earlier. Let me get my little camera here. If I can get it to show. It may be too dark over there. I think I got a light. That little switch right there, I needed to mount a switch inside that box, but I wanted to do a basically, a less intrusive design. So I got my toggle switch there, and I designed me a little bracket in CAD, and I used some 3M weather strip adhesive and just took that little bracket and stuck it to the inside of that chassis to create myself an on and off switch for the internal lighting in that enclosure. Because when you're trying to frame, you can't see the frame for the light. But then when you're engraving, I like to see the light, so I can see the engrave better. And so I put me a little switch in there so that once I get through framing, I just reach down, flip that switch, it turns the light on, and I shut the door and go to work. So I used, that was PETG, and I think that's like the 5th or 6th print this weekend that I've done out of PETG. Did some adapters for exhaust and all. Y'all see that in that video, but so far I'm having really good luck. I haven't had any failed prints with PETG. So from now on, I'm moving to PETG on my A1. And then I do plan, like Steve, I plan on getting like a P1S. I don't know that I'll jump up to the X1 carbon because I'm not running a print farm. I don't really need the speed. There are some other little cool gadgets about the X1 carbon, but kind of like what we talked about with the 93 Toyota. I don't know that I need all that. I think I would be fine with just the X1 or the P1S.
For the price, it's you know, now they have their new one coming out. I can't even remember the name of it. The H2C, is it? That doesn't have the dual heads, but has the larger working area. So if you need a bigger than the 256, you know, that might be something to look at. But yeah, you could buy one. What was that company that you were talking to with the super expensive 3D printers at CES? You can finally buy one of them.
Oh yeah, I don't know, but they made this.
Yeah,
that is unreal. Well, let me see here. Form Labs.
There you go. Yep.
Form Labs. That is nylon, 3D printed nylon. Like, and they printed this like one piece. This was a one piece print. Like, this thing is sickening. Yeah, the guy, I was so impressed with him. I was like, I will have one of those one day. So the guy's like, here, take this with you. So, I mean, this is, and I sit here and just drool over this part because I'm like, man, if I could make like stuff like this, that would be so awesome. But this is like, if I'm not mistaken, they print this, 3D print this, and then they have to bake it basically to cure it. Kind of like they do with Inconel, which is what they use to make a lot of suppressors and stuff like that. They use Inconel and they print it, and it's basically kind of semi-hard, and then they put it in an oven and cure it, and it sets up harder than titanium, which is just ridiculous what they can do nowadays. But yeah, if I had that Powerball, that's probably what I would buy. Definitely that, and one of those big lasers, the big fiber lasers you can just walk in. I mean, if you're gonna go big, right? But I'm gonna need a shop to put all that in first.
I mean, if you can walk in it, it's not that big.
Oh yeah, I seen somebody had a comment earlier about me being 4'11" or something.
I think Brian had some choice words for you on that.
Whatever.
Hey, you lobbed it up there. I had to swing at it.
Well, there's your van one down there.
Gray Viking was asking, have I seen any 3D printed RC aircraft that do well? Can they fly well? I actually did have the opportunity to fly one once. This was actually a number of years ago when the printers weren't as good as they were now. And one of the guys at my club came out with a 3D printed Spitfire, which is a low wing warbird they're not the most stable at slow speed. And he was like, hey, I printed this out. It's good to go, but if I try to fly it, it has no chance. Why don't you try it? I'm like, are you sure? He's like, well, all I'm gonna have to do is print another one if it doesn't work. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And I was actually pretty surprised. It did actually fly pretty well. And now with some of the newer filaments and newer printing styles out there, I think you can get some pretty good ones out there. You do have to be careful of the type of filament. In sunlight, you can quickly go from having a flyable airframe to something that's warped like a Pringle. So, but yeah, it's been an interesting thing to watch develop. I've actually gotten some of the files that I should try sometime, but that's a time thing that doesn't seem to be going my way.
Yeah. Well, Jeffrey, I'm hoping to get that rectified here before long. I gave up nicotine about a year ago, and that caused me to gain a little bit of weight. Little did I know, nicotine and methamphetamines are both known for causing people to keep weight off. That, and I had 2 surgeries back to back in which they gave me massive amounts of antibiotics, which has really played heck on my body chemistry. I don't think I'm still back like I need to be. But yeah, I plan to slim back up a little bit, hopefully, when I get through that and the stress of trying to spin up a business to support me.
Did I hear you right? You dropped the nicotine, but not the methamphetamines?
No, I said it closely compares to, as far as weight loss. I didn't realize it. Like when I gave up nicotine, dude, it was bad. Like, people didn't want to be around me for a while. And I gained, like, after I quit, right after I quit the nicotine, I also had to have a knee surgery. And so I couldn't walk for several months. And so the two, like, one made the other worse. Like, I went from 2-3 years ago running 3 or 4 mile dog tracks chasing a dog through the woods while consuming nicotine to no nicotine and no chasing dogs through the woods. Because after Max passed away, I do not care to chase dogs through the woods anymore. So yeah, I've gained a little bit of weight. I've got about 15 pounds extra that I need to get rid of. But
just got to get Biscuit to wander out, find more deer for you.
No, I don't need that because this this knee and back and foot still ain't. I still can't run through the woods like I used to.
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Webb's saying, thinking about selling the longer B1 40 watt and looking into the Atomstack 70 watt. Looking for better customer service, parts, and tech support. We both have the 70 watt. You've used yours more than I have mine. It's been
oh yeah, I used it a bunch today. It's right there. I've been all of the jigs that y'all been seeing me cut, my wood jigs. I've been cutting them on the 70.
Yeah, I think if you're doing a lot of cutting, you're gonna love it. It's not to say it's bad at engraving, but you will lose a little bit of definition on it.
Well, you can flip it to 30. What is it? The 35 watts or whatever. You can flip the switch.
Then you forget about that, and then you go to cut the next time, and you're like, "Why isn't it cutting?"
I don't do it, but you could.
But yeah, I don't. I don't know. I mean, I think if you pick any laser manufacturer, you're going to find people out there that tell you that they have the worst customer service. Longevity speaks a bit to it. I mean, Atomstack has been around for a while. They don't seem to be going anywhere. So, that bodes well. And they do seem to continue supporting. They add models, but I mean, if you look at their website and their software, there's a lot of Atomstack lasers out there. So hopefully they don't, drop off and lose support for them either. So,
yeah. And this is the next generation of Atomstack. And this is 4.7 millimeter birch plywood. This is not the pre-finished, but you're looking at 16 millimeters a second. And this is on the 100 watt setting. All right. And I did a couple, actually I did several tests. And that's 100 watt setting, same thing. But it'll go all the way down to 40 watts. And at 40 watts is dropping this stuff at about 7 millimeters a second, which is what I run on my X40. So that's on par with a 40 watt machine right there. Because the cool thing about the new Glacier is you can actually change the output in LightBurn. Like you can just click a button and it'll go from 100 to 80 to 40, like at the click of a button, or 120. But we're still doing some testing, videos to come soon. So Steve and I both have one, so it'll get run through the ringer. You'll know what we think about it pretty soon. But like I said, I've always been a big supporter of Atomstack. I've got 2 Atomstack. Both of my main diode machines are Atomstacks now. Now they're in custom enclosures, which is kind of one of the things that Atomstack was a little slow getting around to. The A24, I think, was when they finally got into the enclosure game to where you could buy a machine and have it enclosed and make it safer without having to build your own. But they have said that the Glacier is going to have an optional enclosure. So we're waiting to see what that looks like also.
Well, they've got teasers of it on their Kickstarter and such. It's a big acrylic box.
Yeah.
So, keyword being big because it's got to fit around a 4 foot by 4 foot frame, basically. So,
yeah. Oh, and your friends over at IKEA have reached out to me about their 70 watt. So,
yeah, I had to tell them, sorry, I'm a little busy.
Well, that's kind of what I told them. I didn't know when I'd be able to get around to it. But yeah, somebody said something about really like my IKEA 70 watt, which is the same. It's basically, I think it's just like the other side of the Atomstack factory. I think IKEA's on one side and Atomstack's on the other.
Yeah, there's been all sorts of things over the years about that. When they first came out, they were supposed to be like the high end Atomstack, and then they were like, oh, they're splitting off, but they are still very much tied together. I mean, there's software references, both of them. If you get the Atomstack Studio, it's got all the IKEA machines in there, and you can buy Atomstack machines off IKEA's website. So at least they've gotten away from Atomstack.net and Atomstack.com.
Yes, that was very confusing.
So, but yeah, it's both of them seem to be pretty decent. The autofocus on some of the earlier IKEAs was a little wonky. You had to make sure you had, well, even the 70, you really got to make sure your module is set up right in relation to your surface and such. It needs to have enough travel to get that autofocus to work right. So,
yeah. Melissa says suggestions for laser tables with wheels, raises, and lowers. Oh, there's one.
yeah, that's the Husky table from Home Depot, right? It's like 24 inches deep by, is it 4 feet? 48?
This one, I think, is the 48.
So I think that brand new, not.
Yes, hold that, buddy.
Yeah, okay. I'll just, let me just.
It's 52. That was actually 52.
Okay, 52, yeah. They have a couple different sizes of that, but that kind of stock one, I think it goes for $3 something, almost $400 if you buy it brand new without damage or anything. Some people go and just find a screws loose and get it for $75.
I paid $100. I think I paid a $100 bill for this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but when I did, the reason I got it is because this one has the, like, you can lower this one down, like right here, or you can raise it up. Like, it's basically like a sit stand type desk or whatever. But when I went to get it, Klein went with me. And Klein's told me since then that from now on, when he goes to buy shop furniture, he's taking me with him. But when I went to buy it, I turned the knob and it was binded. It wouldn't go up and down. It was just like the knob was binded. And so I called him over there and I'm like, hey, I'd like to buy one of these tables right here, but this one doesn't seem to work properly. And I was like, do you have another one, in the box or in the back or somewhere that I can get? And they went and checked and they come back and it's like, that's the only one we got. And I was like, well, that one's broken. I don't want to pay this for that one. So they're like, well, hang on, let me get my manager. So the manager comes over there and he's like, all right, yeah, that's broke. What do you give me for it? And I'm like, are you asking me? And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to take this thing. I'm going to get it to the house. I'm going to level it however I have to, if I have to disassemble it or whatever. And I'm just going to drill a hole through the legs and make it like, permanently set to where it won't go up and down. So I'm thinking, I don't really need it to go up and down. So I don't know, $100. And he told the little guy, he signed the little thing, handed it to him, said, take this with him to the register. And Klein about fell out. Because like you said, it was almost $400 is what they were asking for it.
Yeah.
So I got it home and flipped it upside down. And what it was there's a rod that goes from the crank handle across to the other side that's supposed to raise and lower the other side. And when they put it together, they didn't line the splines up with the little pin. And so it didn't connect. So you could let this side up and down, but the other side didn't move. So I just put it back together and put the sleeve on the splines. And it's worked like a new one ever since. And I think it had like 2 scratches on it from where, it had been on display.
Not
but
bad.
yeah, that was a heck of a deal. And Klein was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, hey, don't be hating. Don't hate the player. Hate the game. But yeah, it's been a really good one. It'll hold at least 3 Galvo machines. It will hold a Rolly also, a S1. I've had an S1 on it before. Because the thing about it is it rolls. Like, it's got locking wheels, but you can roll it out from the wall and make room for, hoses and stuff like that. So it's really handy. I like it. And it's got 2 drawers. This one's got 2 drawers on it, which are slap full of stuff.
There's a question for you about, you've done a lot with Fusion for 3D printing. Do you export and use the EMU file or the step file for higher levels of detail?
I just do it STL. Everything I export, I use STL. And it has worked really well. Matter of fact, just today, like I said, I made that little switch cover and a couple of other projects for the Omni. I've been 3D printing a bunch of stuff for the Omni. Because, with the Omni, it comes with this little jack. But the jack that they give you, the jack's not exactly like, there's really no way of like holding it still. So I made a plate that this jack sets into that holds it still. And then I made me another plate that goes on top of it that works with my these are actually the Lumos jig panels. And I took this one, I just did a deep engrave in the shape of the crystal so that I know when I set that crystal down in that little recess right there, it is centered underneath the laser. And so I got this on here, and I even used some frog tape just so that it don't fall off when I'm swapping my stuff. But that allows me to be able to swap these things out. I used the little adapter that I made for the other machines, and then I created this little wooden laser file, and this just slides over the feet of this thing and holds it. And then once you put it in there, you're good. So that allows me to be able to position stuff over and over and over. That's the same setup I use with all my machines. I just had to modify it ever so slightly.
Bob's asking, have I thought about moving the AMS to top mount on the A1? He printed out the parts and moved his as liking the space savings. Yeah, I know Clack did that on his. Back when I set that up, I had the space, so I just set it to the side. And I've been looking at that and or a wall mount. I like the top mount because it's still easily moved. So I'll probably do that because I do want to probably park that Flash Forge printer in here.
I was going to say, you're going to have to now.
Yeah, it's either that or I got to move the A1 Mini somewhere else. And I'd kind of like to leave them all there in case there are times when I've had all the printers running, printing different things. So, yeah, I probably will do the top mount. I've seen a couple different styles of it. So I'll just need to figure out one of these days which one and start printing them out. But yeah, it is a space saver for sure.
Yeah, the one that I printed was the one that was just like was in their little user shop or whatever. I like it because I didn't have a whole lot of room in the house where I put it, and so it's been really useful for me. But yeah, like I said, I do hope one day I can get me a P1S or something. But for now, my A1 does me a great job. Trying to find a file.
While you're looking for that, Steve Massey's asking, what are your thoughts on true flat plywood? We've both used it fair amount past year and a half or so. It's really great for like layered finished projects. I would be concerned with it if you're doing something a little more structural, because it is basically just UV printed MDF. And so it's not weak, but I don't know that I'd make a wall shelf out of it. So, but other than that, it cuts nice. It's finished. It cleans up really, really well. And so if you have some projects that you want something pre-finished that's easy to engrave and cut out, nice stuff. Now it is a little more expensive, and especially after you had shipping, for some people it gets a little cost prohibitive, but in the time savings for the finishes that they have, it is really nice.
Yeah, I like it, especially for like ornaments and, like Steve said, non-structural stuff, to where strength is not a quality you're looking for. It's strong enough for decorative things, but making boxes and stuff like that, it wouldn't be ideal for that. But I like the stuff. Cleans up nice. All right, so we'll show right here. So yeah, this is Fusion, and this is that little bracket. I showed y'all where I mounted that switch inside the Omni over here. This is the bracket that I designed for that, and I designed it to where this piece here would be the width of that little part that goes up inside the machine, and then I also made it to where there's enough spacing here to get it out from behind that edge and line it up correctly. And the way that I attached it to the Omni to keep from being damaging the machine is I use some of that 3M like adhesive. It's using auto body to put trim pieces and stuff on cars with. I just put a little rectangle of it on here and stuck it in there, and that stuff under normal like interior conditions, that stuff's as good as welding or screws in my opinion. Now if you put it out in the sun and it gets really, really hot and then cold and hot and cold, it tends to get brittle. But that stuff, I've mounted stuff in here with it, and it's been fine for years. But I've got a lot of other, like there's like I use it for a bunch of different stuff. Uh, like you can see all the different adapters. Like adapters is a big thing with these machines because these companies will send you different machines and different things, and it's like I need an adapter to go from this to that. Like with this com marker, the exhaust port on the back of it, it had a fan. It didn't have an exhaust port to hook a hose up. So I came in here and I designed this guy to go on the back of the machine. So I could basically, this is the same output sleeve, is the same size as like an X tool P2 or S1 or whatever, so that I could use one of my adapters that I already had. But yeah, I've got a bunch of different, like I said, I use this stuff like almost, I've got to where here lately I am using Fusion almost daily. Let's say like here's the X1. This is the fan cover that I took the fan off the X1. I made this to go over where the fan was. So yeah, it's it's a very powerful tool. Not the cheapest software to purchase, and not the simplest software to learn. I will tell you that now. It's definitely not. It's not something you're going to pick up overnight. I'm still learning. This is an adapter sleeve for, reducing exhaust or increasing it, whichever, depending on which way you hook it up. But yeah, I love the software. I don't know what I would do without it because I use it making so many little brackets and things. Now there are other softwares, like I know Steve uses Tinkercad a lot, and Tinkercad's kind of a stripped down version of Fusion. It's very basic.
It's made by the same people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's they a lot of the same tools and same processing stuff that's in Fusion is in Tinkercad. It's just a little. It's like I said. It's kind of like that 1993 Toyota. It ain't got all the bells and whistles, but once you learn how to use it, I've seen Steve make some pretty impressive stuff quick. So I'm better at Fusion than I am Tinkercad, and I know that sounds goofy, but I've been using Fusion. I've never used Tinkercad that much. I tried using it the other day, and it was just clumsy to me, and I went right back into Fusion.
Well, and I'm better at Google SketchUp, or not Google, Trimble SketchUp. It used to be Google SketchUp. That's how long I've been using it. It's back when it was a Google product, and it's hard for me to break that habit. But yeah, Tinkercad was something that I started showing people because it is. It's effectively free. It's a way to start doing some 3D modeling and get some customization out of your 3D printer without any extra cost. So it's a nice way to dip your toe and get used to it. But you can do a lot with it. It's just you got to learn its own kind of ins and outs. So Dave Groh was asking, where do you get the jack? And I'll drop a link in there. It's just a 4-inch lab jack. It came with the Omni X, and I think maybe another one came with a com marker is included with a couple of theirs, but you can get them on Amazon for like $12-13, and they're pretty handy. They make different sizes. As a matter of fact, that was one of the ways, if you had an old K40 and you wanted to have a lifting table on it, dropping a lab jack in there and bolting a 8x12 honeycomb on there was a way to kind of have that lifting bed out of it. So anyway, trying to scroll through these. We're rolling right up on 2 hours here, but we got a little behind on questions. Yeah, Bob says you're gonna have to start doing some Fusion videos.
I'm just trying to get caught up on the videos that I got to do right now.
Yeah, I know. I need to.
The problem is I need to learn Fusion more. Because what happens is I'll use Fusion until I run into a roadblock, and then I have to sit down and learn something. Hey, Callie, leave him alone. Yeah. This dog could eat her in one bite, but she never fails. She'll come over here and slap him right upside his head.
Greg, yeah, I mean, I've done a couple of videos on Tinkercad to make some basic items to give you a quick idea. It'll let you make some exact dimensions. It'll let you extrude some things. and you can make some basic things fairly easily with it. So it's kind of a primer to start playing around.
She done got him nervous now. He's like, "Don't mess with me." He's like, "Don't mess with me." He gonna want out now. Oh.
Melissa was asking Chris, I have a fume extractor connected to the S1. Should I vent outdoors as well? Under the impression, as long as you have a fume extractor with all the filters, you don't need to vent outdoors. Now, if you're using the AP2 with the S1, that is pretty good, and it's fairly efficient at getting the bulk of the material out. But yeah, over time, the filters will need replacing or that top one cleaning. If you've got some of the earlier versions of fume extractors where it's more just like a foam pad, a HEPA filter, and then some activated carbon or charcoal, those don't do as well. And you probably would want to just swap out the fume extractor for just a straight inline fan to do your extraction outside. It's always nice when you can filter before dumping it on your neighbors, but depending on how far you are from them, it might be fine just to let it dissipate. If you're just cutting wood, it's no worse than, it's actually far better than the average backyard campfire as far as VOCs and particulate. So,
yeah. Cody's asking, says, I have an open Fusion 360, which they call it Fusion now. There is no 360 since the rebrand. In a while, have they changed it? I had an education license and a hobby license. Is that not a thing anymore? I think they still have the hobby license, but there's some things that you can't do. I can't remember what all they are because I haven't had it in a while. But there are limitations to the free license, but you can do a lot of stuff with it.
Yeah, so there's the personal use free. It's for home-based non-commercial stuff, and annual revenue is less than $1,000, but it has some limitations on features like cam and other things. If you want the paid subscription, that's $680. Now, they do still have educational licenses, which, depending on where you're at, may or may not cost you anything. But the caveat there is they are only to be used for education. They're not to be used for making money. So, I mean, if you have access to one, ethics get involved of whether you use that for beyond, because they are full functioning. They used to, back in the day, Autodesk used to have like a when you printed out because they would use it for CAD for like building design, and when you printed out the actual files, it would state on there that it was developed on an educational license and not to be used, blah blah blah. I don't know with more of these digital files and such if they do any tagging like that, but yeah, they do still have some levels to it that you can access, but it's so many things are going subscription model, and it's tough, but sometimes it's definitely worth paying for that, especially if you're in the business of making money with it.
Yeah, well, I was using it for all kinds of things, so you got to make sure you got the right license for that. Especially when you're showing people on YouTube that you're using it to make a file that you're going to sell on Etsy. Yeah. So it'd be kind of an easy case on their part to prove that I was misusing their license. But yeah. Greg's asking, can you do more in Bamboo Studio than Tinkercad? I think unless there's something in Bamboo Studio I've missed, I think you're misunderstanding the function of the two programs. Unless is there something that I missed in Bamboo?
I haven't used it for that. I mean,
honestly, all I've seen in there is a slicer. I haven't seen a design tool. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. I don't use it.
I know you can do some various modifications and you can do painting, but I haven't even looked to see, can you just straight up build do some 3D design in there, because I have my other tools that I'm so ingrained in and I refuse to learn something else.
Well, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. If you look, there's only prepare, which is where you drop your image in there, preview, and then of course your device tab, project and calibration. There's no design. So unless I'm missing something, this is the Bamboo Studio is just simply a slicer. Now you can go in here and you can actually set up. Let me bring one in. Biscuit, what are you wanting, buddy? Like, this is my little toggle switch mount or whatever. You can bring these things in, and like you can color them and so forth. And I haven't, yeah, like well.
So okay, go back into your prepare.
Yeah, I'm terrible at this. I usually do it in erase all painting. Biscuit, be quiet, behave. Hang on, I got a dog over here being stupid. Why is it not closing? There it goes.
Right click on your bed. Go to add primitive. Those are the shapes you can work with.
Oh, so okay. Well, I didn't know you could do that. Huh. But I mean, you can add the color. I've done the color thing. And typically the one that I'll do is where you basically do it by depth. And I think I want to say it was here. But I don't know why. What do you want, Biscuit? There's a cat outside the darn window. But yeah, that's about the only tool that I've used in here is like if I do something that has text, I will Biscuit, behave. Let me see here. Let me grab a file. I know I got. Whoop, there it is. Yeah, like these. So you can actually set it to paint the last layers instead of doing the whole thing. We're gonna let this dog out. He is being crazy. What do you want?
So yeah, it's definitely a tool that you can do some basic stuff with as long as those shapes and dimensions, and you can use your scaling to adjust the size. And then like
play with that now.
Yeah, Jack was saying you can add negative parts, so if you need to add a hole and such. But it's maybe not as easy once you get kind of into complex.
Yeah, no.
You could do a lot with it, but it's maybe not the easiest thing to do it in. So
yeah, it's kind of like Tinkercad. I'm gonna stick with Fusion. That's what I know. I know how to, because I can draw a lot of things, like simple stuff. I can draw it out in LightBurn using the array and all the different tools that I use in LightBurn, and then just export it as a DXF over into Fusion. And then once I get it into Fusion, I just extrude everything the way it needs to be extruded, and boom, I'm done. So I have a weird workflow when it comes to designing 3D stuff sometimes. So,
I mean, you could just left that as you have a weird workflow, but
Steve says probably orange color. But yeah, it's my
screen back. There we go.
Yeah, great. I use that. I can show you how to take a STL and print it. I show you how to add color to the text and stuff. But short of that, in Bamboo and changing the infill, I've got one setting for standard and one for strength that I use. I mean, I don't get crazy with it. That's why when I bought the Bamboo, when they told me, hey, this machine will allow you to print and not have to know a whole lot about 3D printing, you had me sold right there, because that's the whole thing about it is I don't need to know, how it does the vibration harmonics test to make sure. I don't need to know that. I just need to know that when I put a file in and I hit print, it's going to print and it's going to be the size that I wanted it to be. So yeah, I love my Bamboo. I don't care if they see all my print files. If they want to try to steal my little design for my little switch thing over here, okay, whatever. I can't. I love it. Because like today, I was printing files and I go get it off the printer and print another one. Go get it off the printer and print another one. I was wishing I had me 2 or 3 of them today, though, because there was one time I had STLs just like pending.
Got to crack open that retirement wallet.
Oh, let's don't talk about that. Insurance is going to be awful. Because you got to look. I'm taking a pay cut, and I got to pay for insurance now. So,
All right. Well, everybody that's buying a Bamboo Lab printer for Christmas, go and use Clack's affiliate link so you can afford to buy
hey, if you buy anything, find a link for it. If you can find it on Amazon, I got them too. I'm gonna need it. My insurance. Oh, but yeah.
Yep.
I'm 31 days. We'll see how it goes. I feel like it's going to be okay because I am going to have more time to do stuff and get caught up. I'm hoping I can stay caught up then because like right now, Steve, like me and him kind of on the same boat because we both have to go to work every now and then and stuff. But when I get to where I'm here every day, Steve's going to be like, he's going to be mad because he's going to be like, how are you staying caught up? Because you're retired. I know I can hear it now.
Yeah, well, I just crossed. I'm coming up on 25 years at the college, and in our benefits thing, I will earn an extra half hour of paid vacation every pay period with that. So I'm going to get a lot of work out of that extra half hour.
Well, I've been taking a lot of my sick time trying to get that down. Been having mood swings. It seems like every Friday I'm needing a mental health day. So I've been taking Fridays off for about the past 4 or 5 weeks, trying to get caught up. It ain't working because I'm finding things that I needed to have been that I've been putting off. It's like my put off has done got like layered. So as I get things caught up, it's like, oh, wait a minute, I forgot about that. I put that off 2 weeks ago. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot about that. I put that off 3 weeks ago. And so I just keep like digging up layers of projects that I should have already done.
Jeffrey's asking, do I carry lenses for the Ohmtech Polar 55 watt? No, I don't, but I will refer you to a place called American Photonics. They actually have a nice little magnetic lens upgrade kit for the Polar and the GW Cloud. They are a really good company out of Florida. You can call them up, ask some questions, and they will get you set up with the right lenses, the right mirrors, and whatnot for that machine. So it's a little bit more expensive than, say, going on Amazon or even CloudRay, but it's a really quality company, people that know what they're talking about, and will get you the right stuff. So it's not affiliate link or anything. I've just done business with them in the past and really appreciate them. So I would strongly recommend checking in with them.
Yeah. Directed text says retirement is amazing. I hope it is. Says he retired on August 1st.
Congratulations.
Yeah, like I said, I'm hoping to join that group. I've already got the uniform. I've got me some Carhartt cargo shorts, and I've got 3 different pairs of Crocs. So I'm almost there. I was informed the other day that I can't officially assume the role of retiree until I can get myself a set of Hey Dudes.
Oh,
I was told I need some of those.
your knees will hate you. Those things are like wearing flat boards on your feet.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I almost feel like I need to be running around barefooted, other than the fact that I'm tenderfooted, because I do better with these Crocs on than I do. I got some
Crocs actually have support and I mean, like those Hey Dude shoes.
Is it like walking on MDF?
It's like, yeah, they're like,
I don't know.
No,
I was just told I needed them.
No thanks.
No, Santa, I don't wear socks with my Crocs. My wife says I come in every night looking like I got grocery store feet. But she makes me go clean up before I can get into bed because my feet get dirty out here in this shop walking around with no socks on in these Crocs. I appreciate you, Cody. Appreciate you, bro. But yeah. Anyway, it is 2:15, 2 hours and 15 minutes in, guys. And I have enjoyed it. But yeah. Grace says, Hey Dudes, no. Crocs, yes. Okay, I maybe I was misinformed, but I was just told this. I was told those needed to be in my wardrobe.
So Papa's asking, can they tell you what they buy from Amazon to add to your list? You actually don't need to do that. If you just visit either one of ours Amazon page. So if you go to our any video we have, we've got Amazon links on them. You click on any one of those and go buy something else, it still counts as the referral for them. Or you can go to our website. Clack's got his set up. I've got mine as well. Where we try to list our links. And so as long as you start there, generally that tracks it for you.
Yeah, and if you really want to be an overachiever, when you go to the Amazon shop, you can just like go right here at the top and highlight that. add it as a bookmark for your Amazon, and then anytime you go to Amazon, you're gonna go to one of our whoever's page. You can create one for me, one for Steve, rotate them out, whatever you want to do. But now, like I've got a bookmark created now. Well, I said I did. It should have. Where did it save it at? Oh, it saved it to mobile bookmarks. So we'll do it as bookmarks bar, and then hit done. So all you got to do is hit the little star and then just name it. So now over here, I've got like a little shortcut. So I can literally, anytime I want to go to Amazon now, I can go over here, click on that, and every Amazon order will be a affiliate purchase. So if you really want to support us, like I said, you can do that. It don't cost you anything extra, and it does help us. So we do appreciate it. We don't like asking for money, but let's face it, guys, especially me with my retirement now. I'm not going to argue with you if you want to use my Amazon links. I've got people, friends of mine, whose Amazon on their computer, they've got it set like that where there's a bookmark, and anytime they go to Amazon, it's using my links, and I appreciate that because, like I said, not everything that you buy is going to be something that I have a video on. So it's pretty neat to be able to do that.
So
yeah,
I'm going to drop my link in the chat there. I just noticing I'm going to have to update some of them because some of them have recently changed their.
Yeah, I was just noticing that too. I've got a list of stuff I got to change this next week.
But I try to keep the relevant ones there. Sometimes they have discount codes that may or may not change as well. So, but yeah, we always appreciate people using those. We try not to push them too hard, but it is a nice way that if you're buying something, sometimes it'll on some of them, like on Car Marker, if you use our code, it actually should give you 5% off as well. Others, it's no extra cost to you. It's just a nice way to support us. But yeah, we're always happy to just give you some input and some advice on purchases or how to use your stuff or how to do more to designing or how to mow your lawn with a robot that will call down Skynet in a few years.
Hey,
Judgment Day was just this past week.
Yeah, you should see the video that I'm working on. I was actually editing it up until time for this video here. Hang on, let me find the video here. But yeah, y'all are going to get to see some new footage. Yeah, I pulled out all the stops on this lawnmower video. So there it is. Yeah, we broke out the drone and got some video footage of the yard as a whole. Look at those lines right there. Yeah, that's right. Robot. But yeah, so I got the drone out so I could give a different angle and kind of show the terrain and the way everything's set up. But yeah, so you're gonna get to see some pretty cool videos and stuff.
I prefer more of a Bob Ross way of mowing my lawn. Happy little accident here, happy little accident there.
Well, I almost had a happy little accident with the drone earlier today. I got a little crazy trying to follow it around.
Oh, it's like, another robot run away. See, it knows. It's just waiting for its Skynet orders.
Yeah, but see, I haven't used a lawnmower out there in 3 weeks now. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead because tomorrow I plan on, because periodically you do have to go back behind it and touch up because it's not perfect. It can't be perfect. But you seen what that yard looked like. I haven't used a actual lawnmower in 3 weeks. and it should be looking like a hayfield out there by now. So yeah, I got that video coming out. I'm gonna try to finish it tomorrow if possible, but I've also got these stove covers I got to get done tomorrow. It's one thing after another. But yeah, we'll see.
Eileen bought the Eufy make through one of my videos. I'm surprised you didn't use Clax, but I appreciate that.
He's a little salty about that, guys.
I'm salty.
we had a situation where somebody that he referred ended up using one of my links.
No, that was on ComMarker. I'm poking at you because you don't have Eufy make links.
Oh, yeah, smarty pants.
Yeah.
Smarty pants.
No, I appreciate that. And if you bought off the Kickstarter, I believe they're getting ready to ship them like right about now. They had some production thing. They've been doing a lot of quality control on the machines, and they don't want to release them until they meet that quality control number. So I know they've been delayed just a little bit, but it's all for good reasons. A little insider baseball here. They have had a Discord going for all the early testers and the content creators and such, and the amount of listening and feedback that they have taken from kind of that group of people that were doing the videos and doing the testing is the most I've seen of any company. And they've actually integrated things into the software in revisions. So I'm excited to see people get them. As a matter of fact, they're having to replace our printers because of some of the changes they're making to make them better. Our original printers will no longer work with the newer ink cartridges and such coming out. So they're only going to be better than what we've had. So, but yeah, I know people are anxious to get those off the Kickstarter campaign, and they should be coming out really soon.
Jerry O'Grady, that is my old school DJI Mavic Pro, not a DJI Mavic 2. It is an old school Pro.
I should next time I'm down there, I should just bring mine and leave it with you for spare parts.
Did you break it?
No, it's just I don't fly that one anymore.
Oh, yeah,
it's an original Mavic Pro. So
yeah, I've looked at getting me a new one, but it's just like it's hard to justify buying a new one when that one still works.
Yeah, I've got
the batteries don't last like they used to.
Yeah.
I mean, they're LiPo batteries, but I do take it down periodically and recharge and discharge. They automatically discharge, which was one of the best things that DJI ever did. But yeah, it's been a good one. But I've had that thing since. Matter of fact, let me find the.
It's got to be pushing. I mean, mine
2017.
I was gonna say mine's getting close to 8 years too. So
2017. Look at that guy right there with all that brown hair. Yeah, this is early.
Oh, this is way back when it was all in black and white.
No, well, that's actually like an X-ray filter. That's me playing with some editing software. But yeah, that's from 2017 is when I did that video. That was my old YouTube stuff that I did back in the day. But yeah, that's it. It's a Mavic, the original, like I said, the original Mavic Pro right there. So same machine. Now it's been crashed. I've crashed it twice. Both times were because of power lines that I couldn't see. And but I've been able to fix it. So fortunately for me. The gimbal got broke one time, and what was the other one? I think it was one of the arms, maybe. I don't remember. But yeah. But I've had that guy since 2017. And before anybody asks, yes, I have my Part 107. So I'm good to use it in my video. I can use it commercially. Now, had they not revamped on their whole, you got to go to the airport and retest every 2 years, I probably wouldn't have my 107. But that thing looks like me trying to fly.
This is in the old Metrodome.
What's it got up there is going now.
Yeah, it's a float plane, so it didn't that artificial turf. It almost like sticks to it, so getting it going, just sliding on its belly was something else. But
Yeah.
it's one of those where I don't think you actually see me, because that'd be a younger me.
Yeah, I saw one of you the other day. I wasn't even sure it was you. I thought it was AI generated. Yeah, there it is. There's your neck.
Yeah. Anyway. So, TJ Michael, is that a 3D printed Saturn V? No, that's actually the Lego one. That's it's a typical Christmas gift for me is NASA Lego kits. And I'm getting behind on some of them, so I'm threatening to possibly I'll hop on a live stream with my Lego kit and just talk to y'all while I build Lego.
Yeah.
But
I think we both clicked on one at the same time.
Oh.
Herb said he's still got the DJI Mavic, still great. Also flying a 3DR solo.
Oh, wow. Those are older ones.
Yeah.
I've got a newer Potensic. Works pretty well. But Randall's asking, where's a good place to get a honeycomb? It's going to kind of depend on what laser you have. Some of them like a more form-fitting one, like the P2, P2S. There's actually an aftermarket one from Dofiki on Amazon that works really well versus the stock one. But if you just have an open frame laser that it needs to sit on or around, there's a lot of, I just check out our Amazon links. I know both of us have kind of the standard and the extended ones out there. I wouldn't worry about getting anything name brand. The biggest thing you want to look for in a honeycomb is make sure it's actually made of stainless steel or regular steel and not stainless, regular steel, not stainless, not aluminum. Because then you're going to get the magnetic capabilities as well, and it'll be a little more durable. Some of them are made from aluminum weave, and they're super easy to bend. You can't use the magnetic clips or anything on them. So,
yeah, I prefer steel myself. All right, it is 2 hours and 27 minutes, guys. We've been on here for quite a while, but we do appreciate it. And like I said, y'all asking about the Amazon thing, feel free anytime. If you want to use those links, any of those links, let us know. But yeah, we do have to do some cleaning up because when I pulled my website up, I was thinking to myself, half of those links are dead right now. Amazon's still good. Xtool still good. Some of the other ones are still okay, but yeah, a lot of the links are definitely needing to be updated. But we do appreciate it, guys. Like I said, we try not to solicit. Because, like I said, I do have a business in which I make things such as, the stove covers and the name signs and all that. I haven't done that as much lately because I've been concentrating so much on content, and that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is, I enjoy doing the content, I enjoy doing reviews on machines, but sometimes the reviews are a little more of a setback than they can be worth at times because when I'm doing reviews and doing testing on machines like I have been this past week, I'm not able to put out any content. And so if I'm depending on, trying to drive content to grow my channel, 4 machines in the shop at one time is not ideal. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get some of this stuff done. The companies that reached out, like I said, had they not been companies that I had a good relationship with and have worked with for years, I probably wouldn't have taken them. That and the com marker is just cool. I had to take that. But yeah. So anything else you guys have, feel free to go check out the channels. If you hadn't already, go subscribe to Steve, subscribe to me, of course, if you hadn't already. And you can also, like I said, check out my home channel, which is the Clackleys, however you want to say it. That's my new and upcoming channel that
however I want to say it.
Do what?
However I want to say it.
I mean, yes, hey, whatever. Yeah, I've been called worse. But but that's my new upcoming channel, which that's where the lawnmower robot video, that's where that's going to be. I'm trying to keep everything separated. The shop content over here and then the other stuff over there. It's still me. It's still the same general ideas. but it's just a little bit different stuff because I felt like the bees and the household stuff wasn't necessarily doing me any favors as far as the channel statistics that YouTube looks at. So I wound up splitting it up, and that way I can do both because I enjoy doing both. I enjoy hunting, fishing, working in the yard, tractoring, gardening, all these other things. And when I retire, I'm gonna make more videos about that stuff. So that's what that channel's for. So you want to go check that out also. But it is hot in here. I think my air conditioner's quit. I'm going to power it off. It may have froze up. But anyway, guys, Steve, what you got?
Well, thankfully, got tomorrow off. Hopefully, a lot of you do too. If you're not retired, can enjoy Labor Day here in the U.S. Hopefully, going to get more, like you say, trying to get through a couple of these machine reviews so I can get back to some content. Yeah, we'll see how the week goes. I'm just kind of like recovering from this busy week at the day job, so I got to get back and figure that out. Actually, Tuesday I need to make a run to the cardboard recycling and foam disposal, all that, because I got a pile building in the garage that I've been ignoring. So got to do a little shop cleanup. Actually, if I was out there right now, I had to move things around for that glacier and everything, so you'd see it being a little disheveled.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Well, till next week, like I said, hopefully I'll get some content out this week. Some of the machines that we have, the release dates aren't until September. Like Com Marker, I don't know. Apparently, I'm the only one that got the email, me and Steve. But Com Marker told me not to release my full video until after September the 2nd because they were doing some stuff with their website. So I do have a video coming, but I haven't been in a rush with it because, like I said, Com Marker's wanting to have all the sales links and everything in place before we go driving traffic to it. So, it's coming.
And yeah, good eye there. I did actually post a little short video on this. So if you want to watch that on your way out, go ahead and hit that up. More to come on that. And yeah, more tutorial, more project stuff coming soon. Just got a little backlog, timed badly with a busy couple weeks at work for me. So
yeah, and we're going to have a whole lot more discussion about retirement life here in about 31 days. We're going to share that with Steve. Anyway, guys,
Powerball.com. Okay.
See you later, guys.
All right, we'll see everyone.